So, whether by choice or by issued equipment that you are not allowed to alter, you still carry a P320, M17, or M18 despite the clear, as of yet unaddressed issue of uncommanded discharges. Here are some non-destructive, non-invasive tests you can perform on a field-stripped P320 to let you validate that your specific pistol is currently not vulnerable to the specific known flaws of the P320 and safe from some of the suspected contributing factors to uncommanded discharges. You will need the following items: your unloaded P320 pistol, an unloaded magazine, a thin, solid tool like a small screwdriver, hex key, or punch. First, field strip your pistol. Remove any magazine from the pistol, lock back the slide, turn the takedown lever to the disassembly position, release the slide and remove it from the FCU, remove the recoil spring assembly, remove the barrel. We will begin with slide testing. These 3 tests verify the proper function of your striker safety lock, striker safety spring, and striker return spring. These parts are the most important safety mechanisms on your P320. Place your field stripped slide upside down on a flat surface. Slide test number 1, verifying a functioning striker safety lock. This test verifies that your striker safety lock is properly positioned and in good working order as the very last safety device meant to prevent an uncommanded discharge. The test is simple. Press forward on the striker foot. Observe the striker's foot move forward a tiny distance and then halt, obstructed by the striker safety lock. Observe that in this condition, the tip of the striker should not be protruding from the breech face. Release the striker foot. If your pistol fails this test, critical safety features are not functioning properly and your pistol should be serviced immediately. Slide test 2A, testing for proper function. This test demonstrates how the slide components should behave when you perform a proper trigger press. Press the striker safety lock into the slide. Press forward on the striker's foot. Observe the striker's foot move fully to the end of the available track. Observe the tip of the striker fully protrude from the breech face. If your pistol fails any part of this test, then critical fire control components of your pistol are broken and your pistol should be serviced immediately. Slide test 2 Bravo, verifying a functioning striker safety spring and striker return spring. This test verifies whether the striker return spring and/or the striker safety spring are weak or broken. The striker safety spring is a safety critical part that must work for the pistol to be safe. Separately, for reasons unknown, a strong and authoritative striker return spring is correlated with pistols not being vulnerable to sympathetic deactivation of the striker safety lock. First step, perform slide test A, alpha. Second step, release the striker safety lock. Observe the striker safety lock partially rebound out of the slide. Release the striker's foot. Observe the striker rebound away from the breech face and observe the striker safety lock fully rebound out of the slide with an audible click. Now, repeat slide test 1. If your striker fails to rebound away from the breech face, your striker return spring is weak or broken and should ideally be replaced. If your striker safety lock fails to rebound fully out of the slide, or your pistol now fails a repeat of test 1, critical safety features are not functioning properly and your pistol should be serviced immediately. This concludes the slide tests. FCU and grip module testing. These 3 tests verify the proper function of your takedown safety lever and slide catch lever, and verify that your combination of sear, trigger bar, and trigger demonstrate critical behavior as explained in paragraph 0043 of Bruce Gray's patent on a P320 sear with a rear leg that interfaces with the trigger bar. First, pick up your field-stripped FCU and grip module in your strong hand. FCU Test 1, Takedown Safety Lever and Magazine Interaction. This test verifies that you have a proper spec takedown safety lever installed in your pistol that will prevent you from loading your pistol if you have reassembled the pistol improperly. Without touching the slide catch lever, move the takedown lever to its assembled position. Gently insert your unloaded magazine until you encounter firm resistance. Observe the magazine halted approximately 1 inch short of fully seated, and this ledge on the takedown safety lever halting insertion. Remove the magazine. Lift the slide catch lever. Observe an audible click as the takedown safety lever returns to its assembled position. Gently insert your unloaded magazine until fully seated. Observe the magazine fully seat and lock in place. Remove the magazine. If your magazine was able to fully insert before lifting the slide catch lever, then your pistol can be loaded when improperly assembled. While this is not a critical safety feature, your pistol is technically out of spec and should ideally be serviced by replacing the takedown safety lever. If unable to service the pistol, ensure that you follow full, proper reassembly procedures, specifically remembering to lift the slide catch when reassembling your pistol. FCU test number 2, examination of the ejector. This test verifies that the ejector is not deformed in a way that may cause a variety of malfunctions. While not safety critical, the ejector is easily damaged should magazines be allowed to overinsert. Examine the ejector and ensure that it is unbent and completely parallel to the top of the grip frame. If your ejector is bent, you may need to perform additional function testing to ensure that it is not rubbing against the slide or failing to eject rounds and casings from the pistol. Consult your armorer or a gunsmith for further inspection and advice. This is a difficult part to fix because it is not replaceable. It is a fundamental part of the stamped metal that forms the FCU, and if damaged, can only be bent back into place, not replaced. FCU test number 3, Bruce Gray's down and forward movement. This test verifies whether your pistol conforms to a safety critical behavior originally identified by Bruce Gray in a 2017 patent and later independently identified by myself earlier this year as disconnector-like behavior. I will have further technical discussion of this matter at the end of the video with a separate timestamp. Ensure that the takedown lever is still in its assembled position. Ensure that you have lifted the slide catch lever to permit the takedown safety lever to return to its assembled position. Place the FCU and grip frame upright on a firm surface. Using a thin, solid tool like a small screwdriver, hex key, or punch, gently press downwards on the sear. Observe the trigger bar. Observe the trigger bar as it moves down and forwards. This may or may not be accompanied by an audible click. On some pistols it is, on some pistols it is not. If your trigger bar does not move downwards in any amount in response to manipulation of the sear, critical safety features as identified by Bruce Gray in 2017 are not functioning properly, and your pistol should be serviced immediately. Unfortunately, the only known reliable fix for this critical safety issue is unlikely to be approved for performance on an issued pistol. I suggest contacting Sig Sauer or having your unit contact Sig Sauer and seek clarification as to how they recommend fixing the absence of a critical safety feature as described in the patents they used as part of the voluntary upgrade program's design changes to the sear. Full pistol testing. This one test verifies whether or not your P320, if improperly assembled, is potentially vulnerable to perching behavior as previously demonstrated by LFD research. Based on differing specifications of takedown safety lever, not all pistols are vulnerable to partial or minimal sear engagement. Additionally, proper reassembly will completely avoid this possibility, so this test is also designed to demonstrate how a P320 can be reassembled improperly and how to reassemble the pistol properly. If you're incredulous that people could be reassembling pistols improperly, I beseech you to check out the Wayback Machine for an entire Army preventative maintenance bulletin teaching NCOs how to fix M17s and M18s that have been assembled improperly by private snuffles. So, how do you improperly reassemble your pistol? Place your barrel back in the slide. Place your recoil spring assembly back between slide and barrel. Lift your slide catch lever while returning the takedown lever to its disassembly position. Place the complete slide back on the rails of your FCU. Without locking the slide back, draw the slide rearwards to allow the takedown lever to rotate. And without locking the slide back, rotate the takedown lever to its assembled position. Release the slide. Observe that to all external appearances, this pistol is now assembled. However, internally, the takedown safety lever has not returned to its assembled position. Remember what happened when we try to insert a magazine with the takedown safety lever not returned? We fail FCU test of the magazine. This is now the full pistol test, attempting to induce perching behavior. Because the takedown safety lever has not returned to its assembled position, this also means the takedown safety lever is still holding the sear further down than it should be positioned. potentially leading to perching behavior where the striker might easily slip off the sear. With your pistol improperly reassembled, firmly grasp the rear half of your slide. Alternately lift the slide away from the grip module and press it firmly down towards the grip module. Firmly rock the slide back and forth on its rails. Observe no audible dry fire of a striker slipping off the sear. If you want, now's the time to whack your pistol. If you observe an audible dry fire, then your pistol is technically vulnerable to perching behavior if improperly reassembled. No service is necessary, as you will now be taught how to ensure your pistol is properly reassembled. To fix an improperly reassembled pistol like this, just lock the slide back at any time by lifting the slide catch lever while drawing back the slide. This will return the takedown safety lever to its proper assembled position and render your pistol fully operational as intended. When reassembling your field-stripped pistol, ensure that you have lifted the slide catch lever to lock the slide back before you return your takedown lever to its assembled position. This makes the task of turning the takedown lever easier anyway, so there's no reason to skip this step. This concludes the tests I wanted to show you that will let you validate that your specific pistol is currently not vulnerable to the specific known flaws of the P320 and is safe from some of the suspected contributing factors to uncommanded discharges. The remainder of this video will discuss the technical details behind FCU test number 3, what I described previously in this series as down and forward disconnector-like behavior, and what Bruce Gray described in 2017 as the optimum angle of trigger bar movement necessary to prevent sear movement from defeating the striker safety lock. On January 14th, 2017, Bruce Gray's company, Gray Guns Incorporated, filed patent application number US 2017/0321982, Alpha 1. A patent designed to improve several characteristics of the P320 trigger while maintaining or improving the safety margin of the P320 trigger against drops and other jarring impacts. This patent was ultimately assigned to Sig Sauer and can be found as patent number US 10,184,742 Bravo 2, published on January 22nd, 2019. A critical element of this patent, the rear leg of the sear, or what Bruce Gray calls a safety cam device, was incorporated into the redesigned sear deployed during and after the voluntary upgrade program in 2017. As described by Bruce Gray himself, if a sear featuring a safety cam device, the rear leg, moves independently, that rear leg must be, quote, shaped to drive the trigger bar down and forward at an optimum angle in relation to the vertical axis of the receiver, thus preventing it from rotating the safety lever upwards and preventing it from defeating the striker safety lock, unquote. In other words, Bruce Gray's own written words from his 2017 patent application confirm everything I have previously found about sear movement being able to potentially cause sympathetic movement of the safety lever and thus deactivation of the striker safety lock at an inopportune time. And this is prevented by ensuring that any uncommanded sear movement would push the trigger bar down instead of purely forwards. To date, the strict majority of post-upgrade P320s I have examined do not demonstrate the down and forward optimum angle that younger Bruce Gray cited as necessary in order to prevent sear movement from defeating the striker safety lock. Somewhere along the way, someone either, one, decided that this previously described critical safety feature was unnecessary, or two, didn't realize that it was a critical safety feature and stopped ensuring that this behavior would occur with all possible combinations of post-upgrade sears, trigger bars, and triggers. The full list of changes I believe should be performed to fix the P320 would be its own separate video. However, I firmly remain of the belief that, as it currently stands with the P320 FCU not functioning to design intent more often than not, the safety cam device, or rear leg of the sear, is purely a liability, is pretty clearly not related to the drop safety of the pistol, and should be removed from the sear to improve its margin of safety, as I have previously demonstrated.